Hello, good afternoon. My name is Adeshpreet Singh, and I've done my bachelor's in chemical engineering, and currently I'm pursuing my management studies from TA Pai Management Institute, Manipal. So the topic that I would be discussing on is related to the Indian manufacturing and services which are limited or related to the manufacturing industry. So I'll be telling you about the roadblocks first and then what strategies would be adopted. So I think the main problems or the roadblocks would be firstly the poor implementation. I believe that it is a root cause for India's poor performance in the manufacturing sectors. In countries like China, Japan, and Germany, the countries have developed very competitive manufacturing sectors. They get things done. And in contrast, the things do not really get done in India. Policies which even are well conceived ones are often not implemented in the first place. Projects which are well intended that do not get completed on time. So, the steering committee for preparing the manufacturing plan for India concentrated on finding the root causes for the poor implementation of projects that are not completed in time, and also the policies that do not get implemented in the country. So only if solutions address to these root causes there would be intended results. I also think the second roadblock would be the systematic consensus. It's to support the implementation of policies and projects. A root cause would be a poor understanding of the policy makers that are in place. Consensus is something which is not unanimity, right? Consultation is necessary for consensus, but consultation is only a means for consensus and not the required end. So consensus required agreement by those who are most affected by a policy or a project, both positively as well as negatively. uh, I also think if we talk about the solutions to the roadmap, so obviously we have a situation of COVID scenario as well, where where many businesses are getting hit. A lot of people have lost the jobs, so that is also a new roadblock, I would say, in the manufacturing sector. So let's talk about the solutions now. I think firstly there should be a development of an implementation process for the manufacturing plan. They should actually recommend several actions for each of the cross-cutting area issues and sectoral areas, I would say. The recommendations are varied in nature. For example, there could be a recommendation of a policy change or an institutional improvement or reviewing and revamping the existing institutional structures. The fiscal measures would also be there. There would be certain new schemes. So while some of these recommendations can be implemented in the form of schemes, many of the recommendations do not lend themselves to an approach. So I believe there should be recommendations that are implementable in the long run. So there should be a broader project approach, I think, with a well thought out or a well planned implementation system. So now the implementation system requires, there's a steering, the governing body, the stakeholder, the consultation facilitation, also the project program management and stakeholder facilitation functions, which would be absolutely vital for ensuring the success of the entire structure. So yeah, that would be the first step. I think the second step would be to make systematic reforms. So after discussing these root causes amongst the stakeholders of the company, I would say they would be located to the present problems for the country with implementation of such ambiguous and complex problems. So now what happens is these root causes, they require broad institutional changes. You have to make some overnight changes as well. Now again, thirdly, I think much of this implementation would be of this manufacturing plan would be in the states. So therefore, the state governments and stakeholders in state in a particular country must be engaged. So the interaction between the state government and the stakeholders is absolutely vital. So obviously we've already discussed about this, that the times are tough, but one good thing is there, that the employees would support their businesses. So hence, implementing these solutions would not be that difficult. Thank you so much.